up, y'all? It's Kari, back with another YouTube video. Let's get to it. I'm gonna get straight to it, bro. This is like stuff that I kind of wish I knew before I started transitioning. You know what I'm saying? Stuff you should think about before you start to transition. First thing first, do your research. Okay? Research. Do your research on HRT. Do your research on how it will affect your body. Do your research on how it will affect your reproductive system. Do your research on how it will affect your sexual health, like depending on how you have sex. Do your research. Research is the biggest thing. Do your research on the changes, the physical changes, the emotional changes, the mental changes, the irreversible changes, because there's certain things that once you get to a certain level within your medical transition, you're not going to be able to reverse it if you were to stop. Like, for example, my voice, they say like my voice is always gonna be like this with if I stop hormone therapy or not. And like, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of disagree with that, because my voice was still deep because I stopped HRT for almost 9 months last year. I wasn't on hormones for like 9 months. My voice was still deep, but I noticed the pitchness in my voice. But now, starting back on HRT, I noticed that my voice is steady dropping and dropping. You know, I've been kind of had a deep voice from microdosing, and that's neither here nor there. But there's some irreversible changes that you're not going to be able to change back. You know, do your research on HRT, period. The effects, the changes from low dosing to high dosing. Do your research on how it's going to affect your overall health. You know, I know for trans men, you might be at a higher chance of having blood pressure, like your blood pressure may rise. I know they said something about our blood gets thicker or something like that, so you got to keep an eye on that. That's why going to do your labs is important. And within like the first year, you're going to always be in and out of the doctor going to get your labs done, because they're watching how this is going to affect your hormones, making sure your blood doesn't get too thick, making sure, you know, everything stays in order. But do as much research as you can on, you know, how hormones is going to affect your body, your mental, your emotional state, your reproductive health, and your sexual health, along with surgeries. What the surgeries that you're gonna have to do your research on top, bottom surgery, you know, whatever you want. Now for trans women, I think it's still top and bottom surgery, whether they want to get, you know, their breasts done or get bottom surgery. Do your research on that type of stuff. Talk to different doctors, you know. You really want to talk to doctors that have dealt with and that do deal with trans people. I know for trans men, you're gonna end up going to an endocrinologist. Those are the main people you want to deal with, because they deal with hormones and HRT. I don't know how it works for trans women. I can't give y'all much when it comes to trans women, because I'm not a trans woman, so I don't really know how that works. But I still got the same advice for them. Just do your research and talk to doctors and talk to other trans women about how it's going to affect your body and stuff like that, and the changes, and your reproductive health, you know, when it comes to whether you want to have children, biological children, or, you know, you're into adopting children, or, you know, IVF. I know for trans men, the option is on the table to carry your child. You really have to talk to your doctor about that, and like how to go about that if you do want to carry your child. But if you're into egg freezing, you gotta talk about that stuff, when to stop testosterone, what you should do. You know what I'm saying? Main thing is doing as much research as you can to learn and know how hormones is going to affect your body. Doing research, talking to other trans people that have been transitioning for a long time. I've only been transitioning like 5 years, and I've been microdosing, and I've been inconsistent as hell. It's the first year that I actually have been consistent because I got insurance. I'm a lot more stable now, and you know, I had my things in order. When I first started this, I didn't have nothing in order. I just jumped into it. I did research on the medical effects of it, but I didn't place an importance on it, you know, the way that I should have. But research, bro. I'm telling you, do as much research as you can on it. And the second thing you need to do, once you do decide that you're gonna go forward with your transition, you need to have a safe and supportive environment that you're in. I say this is one of the #1 things that trans people need to secure before they start transitioning, is a safe, supportive environment, whether that's with family, friends, or by yourself, or a roommate situation. But you definitely want a safe, supportive environment. You definitely want to have your money saved up to where you can support yourself. If you are in a safe, supportive environment, I still advise you to have money saved up in case things go left. Whether you're by yourself and you may get sick, you know, you may lose your job, you may lose your source of income if you don't have a job. You know, what we done been through in the past year with TikTok shutting down, slowing down people money. They're not paying creators as much. Same thing going on with YouTube and all these social media sites. It's like every year is something new where they slowing down your money and all this different stuff. So main thing is having that cushion of money saved up just in case you have to, you know, make some differences in your living arrangements. You know what I'm saying? You need to be in a safe, supportive environment, and you need to be able to secure and cover yourself. So save up as much money as you possibly can before you start your transition, and keep your money saved up. I just made a video about how being transgender is expensive, especially once you start to medically transition. It is expensive and it's gonna cost. So save up as much money as you possibly can. If you underage and you're in an environment where your parents do accept you and support you transitioning, that's cool. I still advise for you, you're going to grow into adulthood. So either way it go, you're still gonna have to be able to cover and have money saved up for yourself as a young adult. That's just how it goes. Once you hit 18, it's just how it goes. You need to be responsible for yourself. Even if you have family, friends that's helping you, that's cool. But don't just ride that wave like that. Like, if you got people that's helping you, that's good. You can actually get ahead. So while you do have the support and the help that you need to use that to like stay ahead of your financial situation, because the way the world going is crazy. And you know, 5 years ago during COVID, the whole world shut down. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. So I always have money saved up. If you are underage and you working, save a lot of that money. It's cool to spend it and go out with your friends and buy this and that, but don't drive yourself into debt and don't drive yourself broke. Keep money saved up. This will keep you from going homeless. You know what I'm saying? Living on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Keep you some money saved up at all times, because when you transgender, shit can go left. When you're a young adult, things can go left. You can get sick, you can lose your job, you can lose your source of income. Then, you know, in living situations, you and your roommate can get into an argument or whatever. Now you have to get out. You and your parents, y'all can get into it. Now you gotta make different living arrangements and stuff like that. It's very important for you to secure yourself. Next thing is always have a form of transportation. whether that's a bicycle, a scooter, a vehicle, bus, streetcar, Uber, train, whatever. Always have a form of transportation so you're able to move around. You know, you got to be able to get back and forth to the doctor anyways. You got to be able to get back and forth to your pharmacy. So you need to have money saved up for that. I wouldn't advise getting something you can't afford. Don't go get no real expensive vehicle with no high car note, because insurance is gonna whack your ass. Especially if you, like me, you under the age of 25. I'm 23. I don't have a speeding ticket. I ain't never had no speeding ticket. I ain't never been in no car accident. I still gotta pay $300 a month for some insurance. So think about that, especially the younger that you are. You know, you under 25 like me, they gonna wax you for that insurance. So just make sure you have all your ducks in a row. You know what I'm saying? So you don't put yourself in a bad position. Always have you some money saved up, at least $400-500 at the least. You always want to be ahead of the game. Have your money saved up. You know, pay your bills on times, pay your taxes. If you know, a 1099 person, or you got your own business, you got whatever going on, you don't want them, you know, or you make a lot of money to where you have to pay taxes every year. Maybe you a truck driver, maybe you know, you make a lot of money. That's all I know. You make enough money to where you don't get no taxes back and you gotta pay taxes. Make sure you paying that stuff on time, because it ain't no joke. When Uncle Sam come for you, it's not no joke. You know what I'm saying? I done been in a situation where Uncle Sam dipped into my pockets. He was taking $230 out of my check back in 2024. You know what I'm saying? And I had car note, car insurance, and splitting rent at our house, $450 a month. And Uncle Sam was ripping my pockets. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to maintain, and I didn't go into debt with that vehicle or whatever. So, but those are the two, I feel like the two most important things when it comes to transitioning is doing your research beforehand, knowing your end goal beforehand, and saving up and having enough money beforehand before you transition. Them are your main things you need to do, is your research, a whole lot of research. And you need to ask yourself, is this worth it? You know, is this who I am for real? Because if it's not, I wouldn't even go down this route. I would save yourself the mental, you know, shit, and save yourself the money, the time, and the energy. You know, if it's not for you, don't just hop on it because you see other people doing it. And I think that wave has died down anyways. You know, as we've seen a real high rise in people transitioning during like 2020 to like 2024, and then it dropped. It peaked in like, I want to say 2022 or 2023. Then it dropped. It dropped tremendously. Once outside was able to open up again, it dropped, because this is real life for trans people. This is not no joke. This is not no walk in the park. This is our life. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really think about this type of stuff before you transition. You know, because it's gonna shift. Your whole life is about to shift. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to adjust to it. But the main thing is doing as much research as you can on transitioning, making sure that this is for you. And once you do decide it's for you, you need to secure a safe and supportive environment, and always have your back covered. Always have money saved up. You know what I'm saying? Just in case you have to adjust your living situation or adjust, you know, your lifestyle, because, you know, you may have lost a job, you may have got sick, TikTok shut down, or your source of income done shut down. You know what I'm saying? If you have a big internet crash or something like that, you need to make sure that you got yourself covered and secured. But that's pretty much all I got for this video. I hope y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Out of here.